I only have Nebbiolo, so for me, September is quiet.
Okay.
The people who have Dolcetto, Ruché, Barbera, Whites, they're in full stress.
Yeah.
I'm still sleeping normal, which is lovely.
Yeah.
When I decided to make wine, let's put it this way: I moved to Italy for Barolo, not for Dolcetto.
Yeah.
So I still have some time. I'm cautiously optimistic about the quality of the fruit. It really depends on what happens in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. So if there's rain, then that could be potentially.
Rain would be less than ideal at this point.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So tell me a little bit about your journey as a winemaker. I know that you've had a couple other roles in the industry prior to becoming a winemaker.
Mm-hmm.
So your first endeavor in the wine business was you opened up
A restaurant in Colorado Springs,
yeah,
called Primitivo,
hmm,
wine focused. Um, about 2,200 selections on the wine list. I was just interested in wine. From there, I started a business that built cellars in private homes, and when I helped manage those, I opened a wine store, online wine store. Sold everything when I moved here. I had been coming here for many years at that point, and the Sandrones, Luciano Sandrone, had offered me a job, and so I was at the Sandrone winery essentially full time, and I did 1 day a week at Mascarello, Barolo Mascarello, for the first 2 years after moving here. And then the contract with Sandrone ended, and I flipped. So I went full time to Mascarello and 1 day a week at Sandrone. I continued working for Mascarello until 2021. I also helped the Cavalotto family a little bit in this time, half a day a week. The Sandrones, I still help them out, especially with translations for the technical sheet.
mm. So when you were working in your restaurant and your consulting business, did you have the final vision to be a winemaker?
No, absolutely not.
When did that moment happen?
That happened after I moved here because when I lived in the States,
Yeah.
everybody I knew who made wine was miserable. And I saw friends who got into the wine business. I want to have a winery. I want to do this. And all they did was spend half the year traveling around the United States, doing lunches and dinners, flogging their own wine. The economics in the States are very different. A small winery in the States will make 10,000 cases. Here, that's a medium sized winery. Once I moved here, after a couple of years, I realized the economics are very different. Some of that has to do with the way land and grape prices are managed because they're controlled by a quasi-government authority, the Disciplinario, the DOCG of Barolo. Um, some has to do with things like estate law that doesn't require you to pay 50% in estate taxes if the next generation continues doing the work, which means that there are different pressures economically on different players in the industry. When I did my first business plan, I realized I would break even with about 5,500 bottles a year of Barolo, which is a very different proposition. Yeah. That's when I realized, oh, this could be interesting. For a few years, I made hobby quantities of wine, starting in 2012. But it didn't become an idea that, oh, this could become a business until 2015. And so, well after I moved here.
So you realized that it would be financially viable to do what you do because you're producing such a high quality wine in a historic region, but you would have never made wine in America.
It would have been impossible for me.
Yeah.
Because what that entails for a winery owner, for many, I think, was not what I wanted to do. I like getting my hands dirty.
Yeah.
Here until 2025, I had no fixed employees.
Wow.
So all this I manage myself,
Incredible.
plus the business. I have a cooperative in the vineyards.
Okay.
And, the labor cooperatives here are set up so that you don't need to actually hire people. You just get labor when you need it, which is very useful.
Yeah.
Because Italian employment laws are very different from the United States. Um, it really wasn't until the end of 2014 that I had to think, do I want to go forward with this as a commercial operation? And that was the 1,000 square meters that I rented from a family in Castiglione. They'd seen the work I've done over 3 years. And this was a hillside that was impossible to work with a tractor. It was so steep. And they said, oh, let's let him take the rest of the parcel. So from 1,000 square meters to 3,000 square meters. With a friend from Colorado, I ended up buying a half hectare here in Monforte. The offer was made at the end of 2014, and then there was a family from Serralunga that said, "Oh, if you want to buy some fruit for us, we can do this." With that, I exceeded what Italy allows you to make with no licenses or permits. At that point, for me to go forward, I would have to incorporate as an azienda agricola, become a coltivatore, register as a business at the Camera di Commercio of Alba, all the bureaucracy of starting a business. Before then, it was fun. It was a hobby. So that was the moment where I had to sit down and think, is this viable? How long before it becomes cash flow positive? How long before it becomes profitable, which are two different things. And that's when I did the business plan and realized 5,500 bottles would get me to cash flow positive.
Good. Was it intimidating as an American putting roots down in Barolo?
I don't know if it was intimidating. Scary.
Yeah. What was scary about it?
Language. I have no Italian roots.
Yeah.
And when I moved here, my Italian was marginal at best. Luckily, soon after I moved here, I met Daniela, who's now my wife. She teaches at the Liceo Linguistico of Alba, so she had been an incredible help with my language skills. And, normally we now speak Italian together at home, upstairs. She wants to improve her English. She never studied English before meeting me, so we'll take, like at dinner, we'll try to speak English for a while. But yeah, the language barriers are incredible. The way of doing business here is different. The laws are different. You can't make any assumptions. Things that we take for granted. Oh, hiring and firing people here. No. You hire somebody, it's a long-term commitment. And firing somebody is difficult. So you have to be cautious about these things. Things like trash. Trash, I have to separate everything, and industrial waste has to go to us. This has to go here. This has to go here. This type of plastic here. This type of plastic there. There's no one that picks these up. Normal trash, I'm given 12 trash bags this big per year. Per year. Everything else has to be brought to a specific place for the correct, we call smaltimento.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Do you feel like you've been accepted from other by other native Italian producers, or has it been a struggle to integrate into the community here? Just curious.
Well, that's a great question, because when I moved here permanently, I was already renting an apartment year round, and I was coming so often. I had friends. I've been working with wineries. I started coming here for the harvests in 2007, working with different wineries every year. those people saw that I was serious.
Mhm.
But here in Montfort, that even though I had friends and I'd always lived here, stayed here, there was some resistance.
Mm.
But really, when my first wine came out, was released in 2019, 2015, I asked to participate with there's a town tasting that's put on by our local soccer team, who are called the Barolo Boys.
Uh-huh.
And these are the original Barolo Boys.
So,
The modernists called the Barolo, they took our name from the soccer team. But originally, the Barolo Boys was the Monforte soccer team. They're semi-pro team, Serie N or R. I don't know. They're way down the list, but it's fun. And to support the team, they do. They started 15 years ago, 16 years ago, organizing a tasting where all the members of, let's say all the producers of Monforte participate, and it raises money for the soccer team. And in 19, I asked to participate as a producer. I finally had something to sell, something to pour. And people realized that I'm making, uh, you know, a serious wine. I'm serious about making good wine. I'm respectful of the traditions. I'm not coming in here and saying, like, oh, in Burgundy, we do it this way. In the States, we do it this way. I've never made wine elsewhere, only here. And they realized, oh, yeah, he's doing the right thing. And since then, I noticed a level of acceptance that's different. Now I count many of these producers as friends, which is really a lovely thing.
okay, a couple more questions. If not Barolo, you had the chance, hypothetically, to replicate what you've been able to establish here, where would you pick?
Cool. I can tell you the other grapes that I adore would be Grenache and Tempranillo. Um, and when I started getting interested in wine, I started buying wine for myself really after I finished university in '86. In those days, Chateauneuf du Pape I found spectacularly interesting. Today, climate change has really affected the Grenache a lot. So I wouldn't necessarily go to southern France, but there's a lot of very interesting Grenache in Spain, in Priorat, which I've always adored. Tempranillo, especially old style Rioja, makes my eye roll back. But there was never a place that I visited, and I've had the great fortune of visiting many, many wine regions in the world that grabbed me like this one did. So maybe Barbaresco.
Okay, great. And final question. If you had to put into words why you are a winemaker, what would you say to that?
Jesus God, nobody's ever asked me that. I fell into it. It wasn't really planned. Yeah,
Yeah.
call it sheer curiosity.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, we love your wine.
Thank
We
you.
had the Nebbiolo a couple nights ago, and it was just
Beautiful.
spectacular.
Thank you so much.
I really admire your persistence and your commitment to doing what you do and what you have built is just really really impressive.
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much. I do my best, and as we say, every year is another chance to muck shit up.
okay, on that note, thank you so much.
Much
Okay.
appreciated.
Great.